right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this live video of our presentation about joining My Team Triumph for Ironman Wisconsin 2022. My name is Christian Jensen. I'm the Executive Director of My Team Triumph Wisconsin. I'm here with Ironman Captain, Jenny Ulrich. What's up, Jenny? We call her Jenny U or Top 30 Jenny. Maybe we'll hear that story in a little bit. Jenny is one of our veteran captains and has done Ironman. What was that? 2019, right?
Yes,
a couple years ago.
September 2019.
And she's going to tell a little bit about her story from Ironman. So those of you who are looking to join as a captain, or if you're an angel, you want to know the impact of Ironman on our captains, you're going to get her perspective. And then we have Dave Konchak, our Director of Operations, also a veteran angel with us he's done Ironman Wisconsin as well with Captain BJ in 2018, I think, right?
2018, yeah.
2018. So, and I've also done Ironman Wisconsin. I've done I've done Ironman Wisconsin, did it back in 2013 with Captain Mary, and then I've done Ironman Boulder with Captain Ian in 2015. So I've got a little experience as well. So today what we're going to do is we want to help you understand a little bit about the organization, My Team Triumph, what our mission is, why we do what we do. And I know some of you have seen us out on the course. You've thought to yourself, gosh, what's this team all about? Or what is it like to join the Ironman Wisconsin team? How do I get involved? We'll answer all those questions for you in this video. And then we'll tell you how you can apply and how the process works of being chosen to join the team for the event this coming year in 2022. So we're really, really excited about that. So a little bit about My Team Triumph. So My Team Triumph is out to address social isolation for people with disabilities. And we do that through a teamwork approach of endurance athletics, whereby we bring people with disabilities together with people who are able-bodied to train for and participate in these awesome, crazy, dumb endurance events like Ironman Wisconsin, and ultimately to build relationships and have an empowering experience that affects us all over our whole life. We all have, and if you've done Ironman Wisconsin before, or Ironman, or any kind of big physical challenge, you know that's something that's going to impact you forever. And you have those memories that you draw back on. You look at your medal, or you get together with your friends that you've trained for, you did the race with. And it's something that really touches you for the rest of your life. And I know personally, and I can probably assume correctly from these guys, that they all have experiences from their events that have impacted them as well. So obviously it's a very impactful experience, one that we take, but it's also something that helps inspire inclusion. Inclusion is something that we've talked a lot about in the last couple years. Our approach to inclusion, our philosophy, the way that we go about it is we believe we want to create an experience where people of diverse backgrounds come together, they have a challenge, they have a fun time, and they grow through that experience together. And Ironman is a perfect event to do that because, of course, it's challenging, but also things will happen along the way. Unlike maybe a 5K or a 10K, pretty much Murphy's Law is in effect. In Ironman, we always tell our angels and captains that, just expect something to happen on race day. And the best thing that you can do is just go into it with an open mindset and a continued effort to move forward towards that finish line. So that's really our approach. I do want to say as well that doing Ironman with My Team Triumph, especially if you've done Ironman before, it is probably one of the most challenging things that you will do in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, but it is also one of the most rewarding things that you could ever do as well. So it is something that will become your focus, your identity for an entire year almost as you train for and do this thing. It'll be something that will consume your vision, your dreams, get you up in the middle of the night, maybe with a little anxiety. But it's something that will ignite you and your passion as you prepare for it because it's unlike anything that you've ever done before. You will be part of a team that is truly doing something that is world-changing. People see it on the course. Obviously, it's world changing for our captains, but people see it on the course and they go home and they're like, wow, I want to go out and serve people with disabilities more. I want to do something that ignites me even more. So it is truly a world changing experience for you and the community at large. So let's talk a little bit more about the Ironman experience in general. Speaking of some of that, igniting kind of experience, what are some of the favorite memories, guys, that you have from your Ironman experiences? Jenny, how about you?
I have so many. Where do I start?
Mm-hmm.
Could go on for probably an hour. Uh, just
Is there one memory or two memories that really jump out to you from your race that you did with Heath and Fireman Rob back in 2019?
I would have to say being able to be on the bike going down the hill at 40 miles an hour. Literally. And I'm just like, wow, this is so fast. And loving every second of that mile.
Jenny is a little competitive, can you tell? Now we don't condone going down hills pulling Captain at 40 miles an hour. That's not something we really support, by the way. That gives me a little nervous as I hear that or see that. But Heath was a pretty competitive guy too, wasn't he?
Very competitive, and we just stuck together because we're just competitive people.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And Heath was he's an ex professional triathlete. Yeah. And he had a little bit of a challenging time too, right?
If he did, I didn't see it.
Well, I heard he did. I mean, he was obviously very impressive, in his performance. But I remember him getting to the finish line of the bike ride and him he laid everything out. And he had a challenging time, but he said you were really encouraging out there for him.
Mm-hmm.
What was your interaction with him like out there?
I was his heart. I kept cheering. I was saying I love it. I was his support. If he needed something or he needed me to message someone, I did. I kept a few secrets. There was a time he was told that he could have someone bike for him if he needed a little break or a little stretching time. And he asked me, please message Christian. I need to take a break or need a little break from biking. Can someone take over for a little bit? Okay, I can do that. Message Christian, and he tells me, no, keep going. You're way ahead of the others. The others aren't going to make it and aren't going to make the cutoff. You two are the only ones truly in Ironman right now. Oh. And I kept that a secret from Heath because I didn't want him to know that the others had not made the cutoffs. And I'm like, whoa, keep going, Heath, he's doing great. He's like, did you ever hear back from Christian? Not yet. Keep going. And finally he's like, seriously, has Christian gotten back to you? Yeah, he said he can't. They have issues. And then afterwards I told him, yeah, Christian told me no, that we were way ahead and that the others didn't make the cutoffs. We were the only ones and we needed to stay the only ones. So I had to keep your spirits high to keep you as us staying in Ironman. Mm-hmm. So he's like, well, you did a good job of that.
Yep. Yeah, you guys worked well as a team. Heath was an animal, I know. Even swim, did a lot of run too.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Because Fireman Rob had issues with his hips, so he had to bow out. By then, I was delirious, and I had it in my mind that no angel left behind, which is a rule we have. And when they told me that he had to bow, Fireman Rob had to bow out for a second to get his hip back in, I kept saying no, not possible. All angels, we keep all angels together. No angel left behind. And they're like, seriously, we need to bow out. I will come back. Mm-hmm. And then I agreed and then kept asking where Rob was the entire time. Mm-hmm. Until he came back. So I feel bad for Heath that by then I was like, where's Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what was it like crossing that finish line, Jenny?
Amazing. All the emotions hit you at once.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're exhausted,
Yeah.
but you're excited. And then you hear those words, "You are an Iron Man." And they say your name. And then you just bawl. Like, oh my gosh, you just remember you started at like 6, 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and you had to go through all these challenges. And it's not without challenge for the captain. It hurts. It hurts to, you know, keep yourself still or stay in one position for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So it's not without like pain and discomfort for the captain. So
Mm-hmm.
it hurt. And when you get to the finish line and you know that you did it as a group, it just hits you. See all the emotions. You start crying. You're happy. You're sad. You're grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then you just want to get out of the chair and sleep
And eat food.
and eat
right?
all the
All the
food.
Eat all the food.
All
Yeah.
the food.
All the food. You know, I'm glad you talk about the captain experience as well because, you know, we've got some captains that are watching. They're thinking about doing this. They've seen you and other captains that have done this probably. And you're right. It's something that is very, very challenging. People might think, oh, Jenny's just sitting in a chair. You know, she's not really working as an athlete. But it really is. Every captain that we talk to that's done it, I mean, you know, you have to manage your nutrition. You have to manage, you know, your body position. You have to think about your energy. You have to, you know, so it is very physical, emotional in many, many ways. And it's tough. I mean, we've heard from a lot of the captains that, you know, they train a lot leading up to it to get themselves strong, and they're sore afterwards, you know, for sure, once the event is done. So, you know, it's certainly something that we'll talk about training later on, but, you know, it's certainly something that everyone on the team, captains and angels, you know, go through this whole basically day long, you know, effort. And it's tough. It's a tough journey. So, Dave, you know, you and BJ and the rest of the team had quite an interesting experience. Talk about some of your favorite memories from the race.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was. I feel like it was just a roller coaster of events, and you never know what to expect on anything. But you know, still one of my favorite moments with BJ out there was State Street, because, man, I mean, it's just so empowering when you're just thinking of, you know, 10, 20, 30, I don't know how many thousand people are just in that small area of the course, lined on both sides of the street. You have athletes going up and down, and everybody is just cheering for every athlete out there, you know. And then you hear our names, you know, get cheered, and BJ's just ripping and roaring through there, and the course is a loop that you do twice. So I remember that second time, you know, and I think BJ wanted to go back and do it again, and I was like, okay, 2 times is enough. You know, we're only doing 26.2 today, Beach.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was almost as close to just as powerful as that last finish shoot moment when you're coming down, you know, through there. So, you know, I remember that area when I did it solo in 2017, the year before. And it put that moment to shame.
Yeah.
You know, being there with BJ, and it was just super empowering.
Yeah. I love that you talk about how you compared when you did it on your own versus did it with mTT. Because, you know, when you did it with us, you did it as part of a relay. So most of your experience was during the run. You obviously did a little bit of biking with one of the other captains because we recruited you. We said, hey, Dave, we need your help to ride. You did, what, like 40 miles or something with Captain Autumn?
Yeah, I don't remember the miles. I just remember the hours.
Yeah.
I think I was out there for 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so you probably did more than 40 miles then.
But, yeah, so that was an interesting moment too. Where we're there crewing for Cliff and BJ, making sure, and obviously our other teams, and I'm in the van, being like, okay, I got a lot of time to get prepped, beforehand for the run, and next thing you know, I'm on the bike with Captain Autumn, and I don't know, I was on a mission on there. I don't think I've ever biked like that in my life. It just, next thing you know, all that time was just gone.
Yeah.
I just was like, I need to save this team so like they can continue moving forward. So I was beelining, 100%, throwing everything out there, and the next thing you know, I saw our van and I was getting picked up to get to transition to run with BJ. And I didn't know what to expect. I expected a super long marathon, and it was 45 minutes faster than my marathon when I was solo.
Yeah.
Which
awesome.
Was crazy.
Yeah. And obviously everyone does Ironman for different reasons. You could do it with My Team Triumph, you do it on your own, you do it for another charity. But, if you could, Dave, in general, kind of compare the experience, the impact for you as you look back on both of those experiences on your own and with mTT. How would you compare it?
Oh man. Yeah, it was interesting when you put it out that way. So in 2017, that was my first Ironman, individual, and Ironman Wisconsin, and I was a part of team, the team challenge for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So I decided to participate with that group in 17. My fiance Tanya has Crohn's, and thought it was a really good opportunity to do this. It also put me in a really good transition area spot with the pros. We were right next to the pros, which was really cool. But we did do a lot of the same things that we do with My Team Triumph, is we fundraise for that, for those spots. So all the training that went in, you go through this hard challenge all day long, and in my mind, it wasn't me finishing, it was me finishing for a cause. Then move forward to 2018, even though I was in the same things would go through your head, like, this is super tough, and it's not about you, it's about this cause that you're doing for. But not only are you doing it for a cause that you may know of on paper or hear about, they're behind you, they're in front of you, you're helping these athletes do this, and it's like super empowering. And I know I've said it before, it's just like you get this weird extra captain power, that sets you up, and it's just it's extra energy, it's extra watts, it's everything that you could. I've done other events as well, and it's like I still wonder how I did what I did when I was pulling or pushing a captain, because I felt like it was even harder, and I wasn't going that fast when I'm doing the same event solo. And it's just super, super empowering.
Love it.
It's emotional from all ends, from spectators to participants.
Yeah, I love it. Just kind of along that note, Sharon, I was thinking about some of my experiences when we did it in 2013. We were the first team, Mary and I, and it was a little different because we hadn't done that event as an organization before, so we didn't learn about, like, now when we do the event, we have support on the course, we have people that can help assist up hills. We didn't have any of that. It was just really Mary and I, and so we were going through it, kind of learning as we go. And I remember that we were on the second loop, and we were right on the edge, because we still have to make the cutoffs, by the way. We still have to make the swim, still have to make the bike, still have to make the run cutoff, and obviously the finish cutoff, just like everyone else. So you still have to do that in order to be official Ironman athletes. And we were we were at that point on the last loop of the bike ride, where we were right on the edge, and I was just like, man, like mentally, I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. You know, I was feeling upset. I'm like, oh, you know, train all this time, do all this thing, and we we got to the first of the three famous hills, the three sisters,
Three sisters.
as they call them, right? And these hills are tough. You know, these are really hard hills. When you're with a captain, they're also very hard because you're probably in your easiest gear and you're just trying to keep the pedals going. But you also have this really interesting thing that happens where you have this huge burst of energy. And you know, we got to that hill, and this guy came out. And this first time around these hills, there were tons of people, tons of spectators. It's super energizing. It's like the Tour de France course, and people are just like cheering for you, and it's awesome. Second time around, because where we were in the race, being at the very tail end of those that potentially might make the cutoffs, there weren't many people, because they were like, oh, you know, we're going to go back and cheer on the run.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one guy who was there at the first loop. And he came down halfway down the hill, and he was running. He was like banging a drum, and he was coaching me, and he kept me going. And that was such a huge boost for me, you know. And it was like, all right, you know, that gave me a little bit of energy. And then we got up the second hill, and you know, had a little bit more energy. And we got up the third hill, had a little bit more energy. And at that point, we were like thinking about, we had a planned bathroom break for Mary, and you know, because captains of course, just as angels do, have to kind of plan and manage, you know, bathroom breaks and personal care and how they're going to handle all that. So on the first loop, we stopped right in Verona. There's a school. It was a bathroom there. We stopped, and second loop we had planned to stop again. And we're coming up to the loop. We're coming up to the second time, and I'm looking at my clock, and I'm going, we're literally minutes like away from the cutoff. Like, our pace is such that if we keep at this pace, we are plus or minus going to make it. And I knew that if we stopped for that bathroom break, it's done. We're not going to make the cutoff at the end. And so of course, if Mary has to go to the bathroom, you know, we're going to stop. So I remember talking back to Mary. I'm like, hey, Mary, how you doing? You know, we're coming up to the bathroom break. Do you want to stop? You feeling like you need to stop? Of course, she doesn't know how close we are to the cutoffs. You know, I didn't tell her at that point. But, you know, so I asked her, and there's a little silence, and she said, well, how much more do we have? I said, well, we got about 15 miles left. And she's like, let's go. I'm like, all right, here we go. And when she said that, it was like, you talk about that kind of extra watts or that super energy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that 15 miles left was the hardest I've ever biked in my life. I was pushing, and I was going hard. I was moving at a pace and an effort that I'd never before, because I knew Mary was pumped about getting to that finish line. She was in, therefore I had to be in. You know, there's no excuses. And I knew that, you know, I had to push myself such that I wasn't even thinking about running a marathon. I was thinking about getting to the end and using every ounce of energy that I have. And if I needed to fall over and be done, I would be done. But I would make the cutoff. And I remember we're coming in, we could see the Monona Terrace, we're going up the Helix, and I'm like, I have no clue. I don't know. I'm looking at my clock. I mean, I think we're close, but could be off. I'm not quite sure. You know, I remember we get to the top of the Helix, and we kind of roll. We're coming in towards the finish line, and I see people are just like, yeah, and you know, my family's there, and people are like, yeah, and I knew we had done it. And man, it was just so powerful. You know, just so powerful. And just that extra energy. And it's true. I mean, you know, when you're with that captain or you know, it brings a whole different level of motivation that you're willing to push yourself at a different point than you would if perhaps you were just on your own. And so it's incredibly motivating group. And like Dave said, you know, there's a ton of great charities that are out there that do the race. But one of the unique things with My Team Triumph is that you are doing it with the person that you're benefiting. They are literally there in the race with you.
It's huge.
This is not someone that you will never meet. This is not someone that lives overseas that will benefit for, just financially. You are supporting in your fundraising and doing the race with the person that's benefiting from the experience. And Jenny, I know Jenny well enough that she has this incredible spirit. And Jenny, I'm willing to bet that from that experience, you grew as a person, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you feel like your self-confidence grew? Like, what impact did that have on you as an individual?
That I could take on whatever it threw at me. Like, I didn't realize how much I could handle with all that pain
Mm-hmm.
I was in until I was literally had all that pain, and I'm like, no, we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shut up, body. Let's get moving.
Shut up, body.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. It's a new take on shut up, legs. I love it. Yeah. So there's a huge impact, and I guarantee if you've never done the race before with mTT, you think about doing this. This is something that will change your life. I don't think I'll ever do an Ironman on my own. Because of just I love the relationships, I love the connection with the captains, and I give ton of credit to people that do Ironmans on their own because I don't know how they do it without, I need that motivation for me in order to finish the race. But let's talk about more of the community in general. Those you guys, you've been doing the races, you've seen how people have interacted as you've gone. Dave, you mentioned the State Street thing, but how have some of the other athletes, or how do the other spectators, the people that see you in the race, how do they respond? Jenny, we'll start with you. When you were doing that event, how was that interaction when you were out there?
It was, if you've done Bell and Run here in Green Bay, it is literally the same thing, except for much larger scale. Take the Bell and Run and times it by 10. And it's that, people are all over the place, screaming, and, they get into it just as much as the athletes. And so, you don't have, you may have a mile here or there that there's nothing going on, but 99% of it, someone somewhere is standing and watching you.
Yep.
And it has a sign that says, "You paid for this. Remember that."
You paid for this. Yep. Yep. So awesome interaction from the crowd and from the other athletes going by.
It's exactly like Ellen.
Yeah.
They're cheering. They're wanting to help. You can see a few people are out there. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but do you need help? And it's you can't help us. You have to just watch. But it's great.
Yeah. Sometimes people do help. We talk about some of the big hills, on the bike course especially. We love to see that. We're going up some of the 3 hills, especially the last hill. That's where we kind of camp out for the day. We put a tent up there and we encourage all our family and friends to come out. Almost every time a captain comes up, some of the just spectators that are out there cheering on the teams, they just jump in. You probably don't see this, but they just jump in and they start pushing the chair from behind.
Oh yeah.
They start hey, I want to help, and they just start. It's a really cool thing, and you see people wanna get behind that, and it's something unlike anyone you're used to seeing the athletes just going by and they have their own really inspiring journey. But when you see a captain come by, it's just that energy just goes up, and it's boom, you can't help but just get super super pumped about it. Dave, how about you? Were there any?
There was a lot of good moments, and I was just kind of replaying, a few of them, and obviously Midtown was one of those. I mean, when you're biking up that, and you're getting, I think at that point, I think we were second loop of Midtown. So like you said, it's starting to get a little scarce of people there, but they were still there. But you get that energy. On the run course, especially, I talked about a little bit about the spectators, but the other athletes at that point, because you know, we're not going to be super fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the whole logistics of it. We're not going to be super fast. So at that point, the other athletes that are out there with you, especially second time on the run loop, they were probably pretty close to not making the cutoff as well on the bike, and they are probably suffering just as much as you are. And sometimes they were, I remember, like kind of by observatory, and in back some of those desolate areas on the trail, that there were this athletes like, hey, can I run with you, like run by you, and then they were talking to BJ. They were talking to me, about my team triumph or just how the day was and this and that, and all of a sudden they got energy, and they just said thank you so much, and then they took off. Like they went from struggling to be able to find their legs again to being able to go. I know when I was getting tired out there too, BJ's like, "You got this, bro." I'm like, "You're right, I do," and I just started running again. It was amazing, and one of the cool times when we had a lot of participants by us was second loop was getting dark, and I had put on the chair my bike lights because I knew it was going to get dark at some point, and that back trail's very dark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I lit up the whole trail,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's like, "This is awesome." Like, we can run again because it's so dark that you kind of want to walk because you don't want to trip on anything back there, because you can't see very much. And we just had this whole crowd of people around us, because it was all lit up and everybody's smiling and they were laughing and joking around again. And it didn't seem like we were 20 miles into the run, or umpteen hours later throughout the day. So that was pretty cool. And then when we were running BJ up to transition after the swim, all the spectators that were lined along the helix, super cool.
Yeah,
it's just that event. There's just, I mean, you could just go on and on about how the spectators are,
right,
and how well that the whole Ironman Wisconsin's put on. It's just amazing.
And also it's important to note that Ironman Wisconsin is typically voted one of the favorite Ironman events of all Ironmans.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the fan favorites. It's one of the athlete favorite events. From the course to the spectators. You're running down State Street. You run through Camp Randall Stadium twice. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of different variations. It's one of the more challenging ones, especially with the bike course and the hills. You got the college town. You get the students are there on State Street. They're cheering you on. The backdrop of the finish line is right by the Capitol. It's just an awesome, awesome event. And certainly if you're an Ironman athlete, it's one of those that you just have to do because it's unlike any other race that you've really ever done, even if you've done Ironmans before. Yeah. So super, super powerful. So let's talk a little bit more about the process. Being involved with My Team Triumph. How is that unique? Some of you are watching this and going, I've done Ironman before. I know I gotta register, I gotta train, I gotta get my mind and body right and get to it. How does that work? So let's break it down a little bit for you. So first of all, of course, there are different roles to the My Team Triumph team. We have, in case you didn't figure this out, we have our captains who are the athletes with disabilities, and we have a wide range of ability level for the captains. Most of our captains are wheelchair users. Jenny, as you can see, uses a wheelchair. So Jenny is using we call them race chairs, and the chair is being pulled on the bike and pushed on the run, and then we have a raft that we use that Jenny is in, and it's attached to an angel, and they're swimming and pulling Captain Jenny through and out of our captains through the swim. Occasionally, though, we do have captains that need various other levels of assistance. Maybe the captain can run or wants to run part of it, or they can swim to a point, or they can bike to a point. Most of our captains are those similar to Jenny, in which they're utilizing the chair and the boat for majority of the event. But we also have captains that kind of in the middle, so we can accommodate pretty much anyone in there. If you have a disability, and you want to do Ironman Wisconsin, we are here to help you be successful in that. Angels. So there's two kind of ways to do this. You can do it as a solo angel, which is just one angel going with their captain through the whole race, swim, bike, run, or you can do it as a relay, in which it's up to 3 team members, and throughout the whole race, the angels take turns who's pulling the boat, or excuse me, pretty much it's just one person pulling the boat. We've never really done a relay in the water with with an angel before. I suppose we probably could put him in the boat with the captain and make
Yeah,
him
there you
hop
go.
out once in a while.
Yeah.
And
But-
then the captain just pushes them out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Get out. Or
Your turn.
we like drop him in the water somewhere.
There you
out
go.
halfway.
Your turn.
No, but the angel would do the whole swim, and then throughout the bike ride and the run, we can switch who's pulling and pushing in that regard.
Mhm.
So relay option is great, and that's great for because again, doing it as a solo athlete and even doing it as a relay team is one of the more challenging things that you'll ever do. But having a relay option is great because maybe you're like, hey, I'm a really strong swimmer, I'm a really strong biker, I'm a really strong runner. Maybe you want to really focus on that discipline and get a couple friends to join you as a team. Maybe you're in a tri club, or you're in a running club, and you want to connect with people and say, hey, let's do this as a group. That's a great option to do. So it's not something that you have to again, have deep conversations with your family around how we're going to manage my training schedule for the next 9 months. So it's something that's meant to be a little bit more manageable for the teams. With the relay, of course, the captain is the same captain doing the whole race with you. So you're not changing captains throughout every leg. It's one captain that's doing the whole race with you. So we have, again, the solo option, or the relay option. Again, for you captains, you would be doing the whole race yourself. In that experience as well, if you're chosen to join the team, we have training that we want you to do just like normal. You're going to train to do the event. This, of course, leads to the captains as well, but we want you to train. We want you to do your swim, bike, and run. We want your captains to do their cross training as well as the angels. You got to build up your core strength, and if you want to and can get more involved in swim, bike, run, you can do that. And then also to train with your angels, training with your captain as well. So we will give you guys equipment to use. Hopefully, we try to pair you up in proximity with your captain that you can get together with them. We suggest that you get together with them for at least once a week for your longer run or ride or swim, so that you can get some time behind the chair or the boat, and then also the captain can get some time out in the water or on the road with you. And then we have a number of events that we do leading up to the race that are great for simulation. You get to simulate your transitions. You get to kind of work out your nutrition plan. Again, both captains and angels, your personal care plan, all that stuff. Because even if you've done an Ironman before, this is different. You will, as an angel, my estimation is you're consuming anywhere from 30 to 70% more calories or burning more energy than you would if you were just doing it on your own, especially a tough bike course like Ironman Wisconsin. So you have to change your fueling plan to accommodate that, and you don't burn out. And all that just helps you do it. So we have a number of events that we do, from the Door County Half Ironman. It's one of our favorites. We have our own 12 Hours of Road America event. That's a great one. It's an overnight one. So it's awesome for getting some biking and running in with your team. And there's a bunch of others, but we would talk to you about that and really kind of pick with you as a team what are good events for you to do with your team members. And again, the goal in that is to build yourselves to be ready for the Ironman event, but ultimately, of course, it's to build relationships. Our organization, our mission is not to have competitive Ironman athletes, although Jenny is very competitive, and most of us are. But the really goal is to build connections, to build relationships between people with diverse abilities. When you have these crazy experiences that you do together, it builds almost an instant bond with your captain and your fellow angels, and that's really something that we want to be able to happen. So of course we have the training on your own, we have the training with your captains or angels, we have the training events that we want you to do, We also have the fundraising. Dave talked a little bit about this as well. So we do ask our angels to go above and beyond to raise at least $5,000 for this event. This helps make the event possible for their captain. We do not ask captains to fundraise, although some of them do, and you certainly can if you want to as a captain. Um, but we want to make sure that that experience is totally free for them. Okay, and not only the race, but all the lead-up races, the use of the equipment. We have a team lunch on Friday. We have our team dinner that we do. All of our race day support. We have people out there on the course helping to make this happen. Travel, hotel accommodations for our captains, registrations, all that's included for you into that fundraising. But more important than what we spend the money on is what the impact is, and that's really, again, the community coming together, our captains building connection and building self-confidence. And Jenny talked about it, being able, feeling like she could do anything now. I mean, that self-confidence that comes from it, you can't measure that. That's beyond measurable impact from our athletes. So that's kind of how the whole experience works in that. We do have an application. So in this video, there's a link to our application. That application is open until mid-December of 2021. We will close it at that point, and then we will do some reach outs and have phone conversations to interview you and talk about, is this the right fit for you and for us? And then early January, we will make a decision about our teams. We do have a limited number of teams that we can have. Typically, that's right around 3, usually a mix of solo and relay teams. So sometimes it's possible that we have to say no. So if you want to be in, I highly encourage you to apply right away, and then we can, have that conversation with you about, what that looks like, and think about if it's a good fit. So, like I said, this is one of the things that will genuinely change your life. You will walk away from this going, wow, and you will have memories forever. I mean, I'm always thinking back and looking back on my Facebook memories of the races that I've done personally, the races that I've been there, support our teams at IRONMAN Wisconsin and other events. And it's truly going to change the landscape of inclusion in our community. When Mary and I did the race in 2013, Mary was the very first captain to ever do an Ironman. And she was one of less than 10 people ever in the world that was an Ironman through an assisted program like My Team Triumph. Since 2013, we've put 13 captains through Ironman events. So we've more than doubled that in the last 9 years. And so you get to be part of something that truly is life-changing as well as world-changing in the Ironman sphere. We are Ironman Wisconsin also, guys, is really provides the most opportunities for this kind of event than any other Ironman out there. So we're very grateful for Ironman Wisconsin and their support, race directors, to have us be out there and to allow us to put on our mission in the event. So with that, I would invite you to apply, fill out that application, or you can reach out to us and ask any questions that you may have. We're happy to answer them, but definitely apply, get that in there so that we can connect with you. We can answer any questions that you may have. And I know truly that if you go and do this event, this is going to be one of those things that will absolutely change your life. So thanks for tuning into this video, and we look forward to seeing your application and look forward to connecting with you and hopefully have you join the team. Thanks a lot.
See you guys.